Hello and welcome to Bryant Fitness Systems, and this video is all about veganism. Now, when it comes to veganism, I believe it's an idiotic way to eat and nobody should do it. And the reason being is that the body is an amino acid demanding system. So if you're eating plants all the time, they don't have the branched chain amino acids that the body needs in which to keep muscle and strength. So as the body depletes in these valuable amino acids, vitamins and minerals, you start to gain weight. And you look at a lot of vegans are either super skinny or super fat. The same with vegetarians are either super skinny or super fat. And the ones that are super fat are overeating in their carbohydrate that they need for their body. But not only is that happening because of the carbohydrates, one, they're making their body very stinky and smelly just from eating vegetables all the time. If you meet an Asian person that eats an Asian diet, especially Indians, they all smell of the food that they've been eating. Now, this is a complaint of British people, but the reason why they stink of the food that they're eating is because they've got a leaky gut. And the smell of the herbs and spices are coming through the pores of the body. So I had a client, little story, I had a client of mine, and he had knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain. He was in a real mess. And he come to me and he went, I want to get, pain free. I've been to see the doctor, the physio, the osteopath, and nobody knows what they're doing or nobody knows what's wrong. And in the first part of the consultation, I said, look, I don't mean to be rude. I said, but did you have a curry last night? And he says, yeah, of course I did. I'm Asian. And I went, well, because you had a curry last night, that shows me, because I can smell that you had it, that your gut is not working properly. And this could be causing pain in ligament, joints and tendons. And he went, nobody's ever said that to me before. Or nobody's ever mentioned that to me before. And he was a really high up accountant, so he knew his accounting. He weren't a stupid person. So then after explaining this to him, I said to him, do you want to book with me? And he went, yes. So I got him off of the sad diet that Indians are on. Most Indians have an attitude of, I'm going to spend the least amount of money on food, but the most amount of money on my car and my house. Okay? Not understanding that the food that you eat makes up your overall health. Does that make sense? So I got him on a rotation diet that helped his body to detox. Then I gave him 12 detoxes. Then I gave him corrective strengthening exercises. And when he first started with me, he couldn't lift 7 pounds off the floor. When he ended with me, he was lifting 107 pounds off the floor with no pain. All the pain disappeared, the body fat went down, and he felt amazing. But this took a year for us to get this type of result. Now, going back to veganism, I've had hundreds of calls from vegans. Oh, I've got this ache, I've got this pain, I can't get out of it. And it's simply because of the amino acids in plants is not the same as meat. And then the vegan that says, I'm not eating them because animals go through this trauma. We all go through trauma. When you die, you will go through trauma. When you're born, you go through trauma. This is life. We are up the highest part of the food chain. We need to eat meat. And I've seen this with my 25 years of experience of working with hundreds of clients, that the ones that go from being a vegan into eating meat have some structural and mental emotional issues, as well as people that are, in a dogmatic religion. Then once we change this way of thinking and this way of eating, the body normalizes, pain goes down, they lose weight and they feel great again. Does that make sense? So really, when it comes to eating as well, they're not taking into account the human genome hasn't changed in 200,000 years. So me and you, we're not iRobots yet. We're all human beings where nothing has changed. The only thing that's changed is the clothes that we wear and the technology that we use. Does that make sense? So if primal man lived to the age of 40, and I found this out when I went to a big museum in San Diego all about the history of man. And the average age of the caveman was 42. And most people will say from baby or from far as they can remember until they hit in their 40s when things really start to decline in the body. Yes, from 25 onwards it does as well, but at a much slower rate. Does that make sense? So if we live to 80, 90 or 100, one, you're genetically gifted. Two, you've probably lived like a vicar all your life. And three, you've been eating really well and not eating pasteurised, processed crap, if that makes sense. So when a vegan becomes depleted in their vitamins and minerals because they're not eating meat and amino acids, they will take a supplement, which the supplement will not always be recognised in the body for the body to take on that supplement. Does that make sense? Especially if the vegan's got a leaky gut that I spoke about, the last guy, or a gut issue where they got fungus and parasites. Because a lot of vegans, instead of eating meat, they'll eat too many carbohydrates, not only vegetable carbohydrates, but fruit carbohydrates and sweet carbohydrates, because they're so low on energy. Because if they're a protein type like me, I need to eat high amounts of protein. So today I had 4 eggs for breakfast with some cauliflower. So the cauliflower was the carb, the eggs were the protein, and then I added some coconut oil, which is the fat that you need. And this is what the vegans are not understanding, that you need a certain amount of fat to protein to carbohydrate on your plate. And this is where calorie counting goes wrong. Oh, just reduce your calories to lose weight. Yeah, you're going to lose muscle. You're going to look a bit more toned. But you will rob the body of the nutrition that it needs. And we all need different levels. Like if you go to the doctor will give you a drug not designed for your height, your weight and your genetics. They will just give you a drug that they think works. Does that make sense? And this is where nutrition has to be scientific, because no one person looks the same, moves the same, or thinks the same. So why would everyone eat the same? Or even exercise the same? Does that make sense? So just because I do deadlifting doesn't mean that deadlifting is right for you, especially if you've had no evaluation or assessment. And my assessment with my clients is 4 hours. And I do about 150 assessments in them 4 hours, looking at everything so I can see where the weaknesses are. We work on the weaknesses. And as the weaknesses get stronger, the body gets stronger overall. Does that make sense? So I believe if you're eating like a vegan, you've got low IQ, you need to educate yourself and understand what you're doing is detrimental to your health and not going to gain health. And if you look at lots of celebrities that have tried being a vegan, they lose muscle, they look really gaunt in the face, they don't look healthy. And then 6 months or a year of doing all this damage to the system, then they go back to eating a meat diet and automatically feel better. But then the years of eating like a vegan will do a certain amount of damage in the body. And to get that to reverse, depending on your age, takes time and commitment from you to keep eating organic, grass-fed meat. And the cows farting, ruining the ozone layer is all complete BS put out there by the media to sell Bill Gates's formulated meat or meat that's made in a lab. Thanks very much for listening. Bye.